I have to clap super loud because this mic is so good at cutting out background noise that I'm like, what if it doesn't pick up the clap?
Yeah, I have both of my fans running, and I'm not seeing anything when I'm not talking. So
Yeah, when I not edited but like cleaned up the last one, it was amazing because Bantam and I didn't really have any background noise to get rid of.
Oh yeah, that's right. You don't have the same headset anymore, Diletan. For
Uh,
shame.
well,
It
sorry. Also, even if I did
it's
get my
fine.
old headset back, you still would have dealt with the background noise. I live right next to a highway, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Eventually I'll get a Blue Yeti. Anyway, welcome everybody to the World of Dragons podcast, the podcast where 2.5 dragons get together to discover, review, and discuss dragon-centric content, including but not limited to books, movies, TV shows, and video games, to help the other dragon fans out there discover the next piece of literature or media that they wish to consume. This is also where we tangent all the time.
No, high tangent all the time.
We all tangent.
I'm the
You're the
king.
worst, but
I'm
we all do it.
I'm
Yeah.
the king of tangents.
You get the gold medal for tangent. I get
That's
silver.
that's why the Discord calls it Banjents now.
Yeah, Dilettante gets a participation award.
Yay!
That's mostly my fault. As I've mentioned before, I usually just fought over my family to talk, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I notice more often. Like when it happens, I notice, and I notice again when editing. I have to keep going like, hey, Dilettante, what do you think? Because you haven't been talking.
Yeah. Sorry, Diletan.
Apology accepted.
Anyway, I'm Ray, host number 1, the Sea Dragon.
I'm Diletan, host number 2. Just chilling on the
And-
bed, as I always do.
The
And
bed dragon.
Dragon of the Bed, yeah. And I am Bantam, the 0.5 dragon, who
He's a bird.
I am a bird. It's funny.
Squawk.
It's funny. People in the Discord are finally like realizing, oh my god, you really are a bird. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a bird.
Yeah, they're seeing like our banner, and they're like, he actually is a bird. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm a half of a dragon. I've got leathery scaled wings.
Well, now you're a third of a dragon.
Yeah.
No, we're still 2.5 dragons. I'm not doing 2 and a third dragon. Okay, anyway. Brain fart. Yeah, so this episode we were going to, like the end of last episode, I announced we were going to be doing the Dragon Empire, or Scales of Empire book. First one is called Dragon Empire, I think. I can't remember. By Kylie Chan. But couple things happened. Point is that these two need a bit more time to read it, so we're doing something else this time.
Yeah, we didn't get the book in time.
I'm in charge of getting them the book, and I forgot until like 3 days before recording.
3 days.
Oh, by the way, guys, here's the book.
And he even and to be fair to Ray.
No, to be fair, no one said, "Hey, we still need the book."
Well, to be more fair to Ray, he even said, he's like, you guys last minute it anyway, so I guess it's not really a big deal. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's an audiobook, and I like audiobooks. I could have crunched through that in one sitting.
Yeah, but other things that happen involving Dilettante work schedule.
Yeah. So
a lot of last minute things came up to where I was in the negative last minutes.
Yeah, and then at around the exact same time, there's been this movie on the back burner that I initially really wanted to do for the podcast, but we hadn't had a chance.
I gave him the questionnaire, like how many check marks does it
to
fulfill to become a dragon?
Yeah,
or whatever.
And the thing, we're
no check marks.
So this week we're doing the Netflix movie Nimona, and we hadn't had a chance to watch it. We were going to watch it first to scout it out to see if it was worth watching, but someone in our Discord watched it, and they gave it the fail. That it was not...
No check marks.
No check marks for dragon-related content, but in the trailer, the titular character Nimona turns into a dragon, and I was like, oh, see, qualifies. But it's for like
20 seconds.
It's like 20 seconds. But
it's
movie,
borderline a gag because it's a serial dragon.
But we have mentioned before that we wanted to start getting into eventually we're going to start getting into monster stuff. Like we did do a book about griffins, so like eventually we're going to start getting into I
have a exotic romance alien novel that I'm sitting on waiting to do with you guys. So yeah, we're going to branch out.
Yeah. And the other thing is that we thought this would be a good opportunity to also have like a little fireside chat over the topic of shifters,
Oh no, you
shapeshifters.
said fireside chat. I need some campfire sound effects for the background when we get to that point now.
Very, very soft, like
Yeah,
just a little bit of a crackle in the background.
yeah. And then Diligent, oh, I'm on fire!
Every once in a while, put the sound of like a sip of tea, like. Um, but yeah, so Ray and I watched the movie Nimona because I really just wanted to watch it anyway. Because one of my favorite YouTubers, Saberspark, he did a review on it, and I was like, I want to watch the review, but I gotta see the movie first. Um, and so we watched the movie, and I fucking loved it.
It brought me to tears.
Yeah, it brought me to tears too. Ray and I didn't watch it in the same room.
I got emotional, but I did not get wet. No wet eyes, but I got emotional. I hear you cackling.
Anyway, oh my god. Anyway,
Did you mute yourself in time, or does the microphone not like the cackle?
no, I mean on my end it showed up, so it
Okay,
probably
so
muted it on your
Discord.
end. On my end, there's a whole bunch of spikes. Anyway,
So Discord doesn't like the
yeah.
cackling.
So so we didn't watch the movie in the same room. Sometimes Ray will come into my room and we'll just watch. Like I'll just turn my chair enough that the monitor can be seen by both of us, and we'll just watch it that way. But we watched it over Discord, and which I prefer because when it gets to emotional parts,
Bantam and Dilettante think they have to be manly and they won't allow themselves
it's
to cry
not
if I'm there.
it's it's not that. It's that once someone hears me start, I sometimes will go over the edge and then I'll just be a blubbering mess for like 5 minutes, and I don't want to do that because I'm trying to pay attention to the movie. But the other thing is that growing up watching movies with my mom, we'd be sitting in the movie theater, and every time there was a sad scene, the two of us would look over at each other like, who's going to crack first? Like it was some sort of embarrassing.
Yeah, you did that to me during the Barbie movie too.
Yeah.
You just started looking at me. I'm like, what?
It's unconscious now. I just do it. Like as soon as there's a sad scene, if I'm in the room with someone, I look at them. Like, am I allowed to feel anything? Because are they feeling something?
You're allowed to feel things whenever you want to feel things.
I know that. I grew up in a family where showing your emotions was considered weak. I mean, it was all guys in my family, and my mom was a tomboy, so.
Ray keeps trying to harvest my tears. I'll never let him get
Yeah.
them.
I told Ray, I was like, it's a shame you weren't there to get them.
Dilettante, why don't you like crying? Is it the way you were raised? Are you not allowed to be emotional?
It feels awful. I don't know why everybody is glorifying.
No, crying.
It
Okay,
does not feel good. My
it's
crying
so
does
refreshing.
not. No, it doesn't. I mean, it's
we need to
refreshing.
watch A Dog's Purpose so we can have
No.
a good
Oh,
cleanse.
fuck no. Fuck no. No,
It'll be a good
It's
cleanse.
awful.
I downloaded that movie. All right, a tiny tangent. Way back when the movie Marley and Me came out in theaters, I was working for the movie theater, and they had a midnight showing for employees only. It was the day before the movie was set to actually come out, and so they were like, "Hey, does anyone want to watch it? We're going to throw it on in theater." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll go." So I go. I'm the only one there, and I'm in the middle of the theater by myself. Even the projectionist was like, "Yeah, I'm going home," and it was just me and like two closing managers. And they've started the movie, and by the end of that movie, I was fucking sobbing, openly sobbing. Like my shirt was soaked because I kept drying my eyes with it. It was the worst. And knowing what the movie A Dog's Purpose is about, I'm not ever. No, I am not subjecting myself to that.
It'll be good. Crying is good. It is revitalizing. It's refreshing.
It is. It
It's
is.
emotional cleanse.
It is because it kind of feels like taking the cork off something that you've been bottling up for a while.
Fine. So not A Dog's Purpose, but I'll make you guys watch A Monster Calls with me.
No, I'd rather probably watch A Dog's Purpose. I already.
Can we not watch emotional movies?
No, we have to.
No,
We have to.
We don't have to. We don't have to do.
We gotta break down the Dilettante's Great Wall of Southern.
The Florida Wall.
Okay. So real fast before we get into the discussion about Nimona, followed by just our talk about shapeshifting, we'll have a brief bit of dragon news. I know I asked you guys beforehand. We said no, we'll skip it, but I just thought of something. All right. Dragon news: the fifth season of Dragon Prince came out.
Oh
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Uh, I watched it. It is not nearly as cringe as season
Season
four
4.
was. You know, with all the fart jokes and stinky feet and all that.
Yeah.
Right? It's not nearly as cringe. There is one poop joke in the entire season. Uh, However, sad to say, the dragons in general are becoming more and more minor. Zim has the record least. I can't figure out how to say that sentence. Zim has the
The
least
least
amount of
amount of
screen
screen
time
time.
that he's had in the entire show in this season. You never even get to see. I think her name is Pyra, the red dragon that Soren became friends with. Uh, you get to see Zubeir a little bit, but some stuff happens with her in the last couple episodes and makes me just go, "Oh God, no." Um, Point is, dragons are becoming much more minor, so it is definitely shifting away from being dragon centric, which is very sad. Also, it is very obviously made for kids in the sense that the the plot is what's the word when you can tell what's going to happen?
Predictable.
The plot is predictable. All the main characters are literally immune to death. I won't say who and what happens exactly, but there
I
is a scene where one character is like violently going to give themselves up so everyone else can escape, and we have like a really minor Game of Thrones hold the door kind of moment, right? Where it's like, oh, it's super emotional, but then they end up being completely fine. They escape no problem. So it's like
yeah.
they try to play up the sacrifice, but then nothing ever actually
And when we
happens.
I
found that
feel
out with the giant undead lava army, nobody died during that.
no, lots of people died, but they were no one important. They were
There was actually a couple of deaths not on screen. It's a fade to black, and you have the sound effects of knife slashes because there's an assassin that comes and just fucks everybody up. But yeah,
I feel like if we cover Dragon Prince again, we'll wait until a couple more seasons come out and
and
do
cover the
a
whole thing.
and
Yeah,
cover like a block of 3 seasons again. Especially
we'll wait till they stop making new seasons. Like this is the end, and we'll just do a full on retrospective.
yeah. It is a shame. It sparked a discussion in our Discord, and it's something I'm very passionate about. Even though I don't really like the Wings of Fire book series because it's too for me it's too many characters talking at once. There's always like 5 or 6 people in every scene. But knowing that humans start becoming main characters and dragons start taking a back seat really aggravates the crap out of me. It feels like a bait and switch. Like, hey, we're gonna have this novel series about dragons that can talk and have societies, and it's gonna be great. Oh, by the way, humans also kind of exist, but they're basically barbarians who can't talk. And then over the course of time, the humans start taking up more and more real estate and start shoving the dragons out of it. And I
Yeah,
feel I feel like I think we discussed it before that
it
because
comes up like once every 3 episodes.
because that was it Netflix was thinking about making a show out of it, and it's
Yeah,
like
but then it got canceled
it got
or
canceled.
dropped or something.
Yeah, and it's like if it didn't get canceled or dropped, it was probably just going to feature humans with like a CG dragon every once in a while.
Yeah, probably. If they don't say for sure, like we're gonna follow the books, we're gonna instead they're gonna tell a whole new story. It's probably gonna be human centric.
Yeah.
Um, that isn't to say that there's anything wrong with human and dragons working together in books. Like dragon rider stories are a genre. The problem is, like I've said, I think 12 times before throughout the 2 years we've done this, it started out promising a fully dragon world, and now she's going back on that promise.
Yeah, it just
Every
doesn't
time,
feel good.
it feels like every single dragon book has to explain to the audience why there are no dragons in our actual world. Like, just stop.
Oh, How to Train Your Dragon, like, oh, they all just went back here. Or like middle Lord of the Rings, like they were all killed off and all the other races just left. Like people generally having to tie whatever fantasy world they come up with to the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's either Earth in the distant future or Earth in the super far past.
Anyway, so that's
Nimona.
the dragon news. That was a tangent on Dragon Prince. So yeah, let's go on to Nimona.
So
Uh,
I want to start by saying that the reason I really wanted to do this movie was because I watched the trailer, and the trailer seemed like the ideal, perfect world for me. So when we get to it, spoiler alert, I'm gonna 5 out of 5. I'm gonna live here. Fuck yeah. Um, it's basically a cyberpunk future mixed with heavy, heavy medieval influences. Like, imagine a giant Attack on Titan circular city of castles and castle walls, and all the citizens wearing what are essentially medieval clothing and suits of armor, like, plate mail, but
Hmm.
also with cybernetics, neon, television,
Yeah,
flying cars. It's the best. I
it
would.
basically take your fantasy Europe trope. Don't change the culture at all. Just advance the technology.
It is absolutely mind blowing how perfect this world was for me.
Uh, Dilettante, did you like the aesthetic?
I fucking love the aesthetic. It's the first time I've ever seen sci fantasy punk.
Sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sci
fantasy
fantasy.
punk. This is fantasy punk. Night punk, nightcore.
I mean, one of those. I mean,
I
all of those
don't
could fit
know.
this. But yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, so not to spoil the story until we have a little break. Basically, there is a knighthood, which you can only join if you were of noble blood, like usual, that has been charged with protecting the city from the monsters. The movie starts with a 2 minute historical scroll explaining the story, like, oh, there are monsters, but then the main paladin lady fought it off and became a hero, and now we continue to follow in her ways and defend the city from the evils of
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
right?
This is a city that has existed for probably thousands of years, and they
I
have
think it's 8,000, literally
a
8,000.
1,000 years. It has giant, giant. I'm talking like bigger than the biggest skyscraper walls all around the city with gigantic, what look like interplanetary laser guns stationed all along the wall. And all the citizens believe that outside those walls is nothing but monsters. It is just darkness and despair and death in every direction, and the only place they're safe is inside the city.
Hmm. Uh, so there's the knighthood that is only for people of noble blood. But there's one person, a little peasant boy, who showed such gusto and fervor that the queen just had to let him in, and we're gonna knight him. It's the night. It's the night where we knight the knights. um,
Yeah, I,
and
I will
then
I will say that I worried the first 5 minutes of the movie. I severely worried. I was like, oh god, it's gonna be nothing but slapstick bullshit. The night where we night the night, and I'm like, oh no.
yeah, but then things start to go wrong. Uh, Night person's got to just uncover like a mystery, and then he gets Nimona as a sidekick, and a lot of the movie is just figuring out the mystery and just showing those two, Nimona and what was the main knight's name?
Uh, shit.
Bao.
Bal. Yeah.
Bao was his nickname, but I don't remember what his full name was.
Uh,
But whatever. Nimona and Bao just doing a basically a buddy cop movie. Just shenanigans as they try to figure out the truth behind everything.
also
his name was
Nimona is
That's
like the
his
best character.
his
yeah,
name
that's
was
as vague as I'm gonna be before spoiling things.
his name was Ballister.
Ballister, there we go. Thank
Ballister
you.
Boldheart.
But yeah. Anyway, so Dilettante, overall, was it a good movie? The animation, the dialogue, the story, was it good? Did you enjoy it?
Dialogue fucking fantastic. Nimona is the best character out of the entire bunch. It was surprisingly refreshing to see that level of chaos. I don't know what you
Well,
call
because
it.
that was realistic chaos. It wasn't freaking Tiny Tina from Borderlands chaos.
He
I,
hates
I,
Tiny Tina.
I hate Tiny Tina.
Uh, here's the thing about Nimona and Ballister's dynamic throughout the entire movie. While we were watching it, I kept looking over at Ray, and I'm like, that is literally you. Like, Ray is Nimona, and I am Ballister.
Such Ray energy in that little girl.
Yeah, which I guess would make Ambrosius Goldenloin Dilettante.
Dilettante's not nearly as suave.
I
He
can be
can be suave
suave.
when he wants.
All right, Dilettante, be suave right now.
I don't want to.
Yeah, it's Dilettante's suave when it counts. That's all that matters.
Damn straight.
Nemesis.
So, yeah, as he said, Ballister Boldheart is not of noble blood, but he is allowed to take part in the ceremony to become a full knight of the Institute. There's a lot of, as he said, European, like there's a whole cadre of knights that belong to the Institute, and they're led by the director. It's very even when you're looking in the inside of the Institute's walls, it's very minimalistic, very drab. Gray, white, and black with golden statues. So it is very dystopian in a way, but very clean.
I got no dystopian vibes from it at all.
There's a little bit of dystopia in there.
Dilettante, was it dystopian?
It was dystopian towards the end.
Well, when you have, I'm talking mainly about the architecture of the inside of the institute, where it was giant high-rise
Oh,
ceilings
that was
of just
authoritarian as fuck.
authoritarian. That's what I'm thinking of. Not
Okay, there we go.
authoritarian, very authoritarian. But then you get to the outside of the uh, Saberspark in his review said that he didn't feel like the movie had enough world building. I disagree. There's a lot of world building in the sense where if you're like me, where you're able to notice stuff in the background while you're watching the movie. Uh, it
That's not Wolverine. That's set pieces and props.
it told stories though. Like
It can.
the general populace kind of live their lives like we do in the modern age. They go shopping, but it's a very walkable city, it looked like, except for the flying cars, I guess.
Right.
But
But like what he said as far as Wolverine goes, and what I agree with is, if you're gonna make such a big deal in the beginning of the movie that only the nobles, the nobility can become knights, and like this peasant joining the knighthood is such a big deal, you should spend some time showing the dichotomy, the differences between the nobles and the peasants.
yeah.
But like everybody seemed to be on equal footing the whole time. They were less noble bloodlines, and they were more just celebrities.
Yeah. And in the very beginning of the movie, we're introduced to Ballister as an adult. Like, we're shown a little flashback of him as a kid, and he was just like super gung ho, you know. And
Jumps the fence, beats up the dummy. I will kill
rip
all the
yeah, he
monsters.
rips the dummy's head off, whatever. But then we're introduced to Ambrosius Goldenloin, and the moment that he showed up in the scene, it was when Ballister was sitting on a balcony being really sad because people weren't really supporting. He was worried people weren't going to accept him. And then Goldenloin shows up, who but is dressed in all white and gold with perfectly, white blonde coiffed hair, and he sits down next to him, and he immediately was super supportive. And Ray and I both turned to each other and we were like, wow, that's a
Oh, they're
change.
friends, not rivals. That's
They're
actually a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, like I fully expected him to be the total bully, like, because he's of noble blood. He's a direct descendant of Glorith, the paladin who basically founded their city, I guess you could say. The she's Glorith is the city's deity, and he's a direct descendant, and he is super good friends with what we thought super good friends with Ballister, and then he sits down next to Ballister and puts his hand on top of Ballister's, and then they both kind of like hold hands really tight, and we were like, oh.
Oh yeah, no,
They
they
gave.
gave off vibes like right at the beginning.
Yeah, but the thing was is that Ray and I, even after the movie, throughout the entire movie, it was not shoved in your face. It was done perfectly.
It played completely natural, which was beautiful.
Absolutely completely natural. Like there was a kiss later on in the movie. Like they're holding hands, they bicker, they fight, it was so perfect. I was so proud of
Yeah,
this movie for depicting a realistic gay couple.
yeah. I mean, one of them could have been female, and like it would have changed very little about how they acted. They were just acting like human beings. There was no moment of like, hey, look at me, I'm gay. I don't even know if I'm good at doing the voice or not. I'll find out when I edit it, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, so it's a good movie. You should go watch it, if only to show you support LGBT representation. Uh,
You know, it's funny. I didn't. Every time a movie comes out, I always hear people bitching and complaining about it's woke, it's woke. Um, this movie came out, and I actually looked after we watched the movie. I didn't see a single person saying anything bad about it.
And this movie's woke as fuck, according to definitions.
Yeah. Dilettante's in the South, he would know what woke is.
That's all I hear.
I know.
It's also weird because looking into the movie afterward, because from Saber Sparks video, which I suggest you watch after you watch the movie, apparently this movie almost never got made. It was picked up by multiple studios over and over and over, and kept getting scrapped. And then it passed along to Annapurna Studios, and they gave it the green light and were like, "Here, yeah, make your movie." And so we almost didn't even get this movie. And I'm so thankful for Annapurna, who has been doing really good stuff lately. Um, and yeah, if it weren't for Annapurna, we wouldn't even have this movie.
All right, so we already know that holy shit. We already know that Bantam wants to live here. But Dilettant, X out of 5, and would you live here?
Uh, I'm trying to think. Like,
The
if
answer's yes, Dilettant. Otherwise, we
hold
can't be
on,
together.
yes, if it's post climax, if it's after the end of the movie, I would absolutely. Before, hell no.
Yeah, we never really established that rule, but I'd like to think that at the best possible time, we get to decide we're going to live
If
here.
if you like the beginning, then the beginning. If you like the end, then the end. It's
Okay,
just
then.
it was the way the world was built something that interests you.
Oh, absolutely.
Teresa Nix in our Discord says that Annapurna, their game division, is the one that published Outer Wilds. So, yeah, good job, Annapurna.
Damn, they've been on a roll.
Yep, I gave it also a 5 out of 5. I would most likely live here. There's one little caveat which has to do with like I need I would like to know what's outside of the wall because we don't ever get to explore it because the entire movie takes place inside the city.
Well, we get to
But yeah,
explore it at the end.
not
You get
really.
to see it at the end.
You get to
Yeah,
see it.
you get a panorama.
Well,
Um,
wait, isn't his little fortress of solitude and
no, they have forest inside the walls.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Nye in the Discord also brings up a good point. It is a pretty jarring intro to the movie. It does feel like they set
it
up
was a lore dump and a half.
a lore dump and a half. Like the first maybe 15, 20 minutes of the movie, it was like, whoa, okay. But I don't hate it.
Yeah. The thing is, after the lore dump that happened rapid fire, it was so that they could spend more time showing off the buddy cop dynamic of Nimona and Ballister.
Yeah,
So
it
it's
felt
like
it felt like they were really trying to rush to get to Nimona.
it would have been better as like a 4 episode miniseries where each episode is like an hour long.
Yeah, I think
Like
Saber Spark said the same thing that this would have been.
he said it should have been a series.
It should have been a series.
But
Yeah.
I want to specify a mini series where the episodes are like an hour long, rather than like an actual series where it's like 20-minute episodes.
Quit yelling at the creators. Gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's doing really well. Maybe we'll get some spin-offs and stuff. Who knows? We'll see.
I mean, yeah, like you got Penguins of Madagascar got their own spin-off TV show, and it's like, granted they dropped the quality of the 3D animation down by like, 80%. That's the other thing about this movie, the animation, the hard light and hard shadows, with cell shading, and really really beautiful.
The animation was beautiful.
The animation it's definitely like. Every once in a while, a movie will come along that will shake the foundation of all movies going forward, and it's definitely influenced by the Spider-Verse. When the Spider-Verse came out, so many movies have tried doing that cel-shaded, hard light, hard shadow, really good action, lots of color at the right points. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, we need. I really enjoy the trend where animation is getting a lot more stylized, like after the Spider-Verse
Yeah, it does.
and Arcane from League of Legends,
Yeah.
all that. I love stylized animation.
Yeah, it's like animation doesn't need to look 100% realistic. It can look fun.
And the thing is, when you stylize it, you don't you're less likely you're going to run into the uncanny valley, so you can afford to be sloppier with it, I guess, meaning like you're going to have much faster rendering times and you can get things done faster.
Yeah.
You go too realistic and you get Lion King live action where it's like
Oh,
kind of
Lord.
off-putting and you can't show emotion that well.
Yeah.
All right, any final thoughts, spoiler free, before we jump into spoilies?
No.
No. All
Well,
right.
you didn't give your 0 out of 5, or would you live
Yeah,
here?
I said I'd live here, but I had the caveat of I need to see outside the wall to know for sure.
Oh, okay.
But I'm pretty sure I would be okay living here.
Good. We're all gonna live here now.
And welcome back after Ray's little ditty.
My little ditty.
All right, time to spoil the fuck out of this. Where are we starting?
Where did you cry?
Take a guess.
At the part where
Was it the hand on the heart?
Actually, it was before that.
was it when
Same
she was
scene,
in
though.
the woods?
It was
Oh no! Actually, hold on. My final answer, my final guess is when Nimona was shapeshifting into different animals trying to fit in and kept getting rejected.
During the flashback?
Yeah.
That's kind of where it started, but where
Was
it
it
like
was it the Glorith?
Was it Glorith's betrayal?
no, you were close with the scene. You were just a little farther ahead. It was actually when she was getting her ass handed to her. She was like desperately trying to climb through.
From
but
the villagers when they were poking her with pitchforks and shit.
No, I'm talking about kaiju scene.
Oh, that's after, not before then.
That's after.
Yeah.
Because it's her flashback that made her remember.
No, I told you guys you were close with the hand touching.
And then you said it's before that.
Okay.
Yeah,
before the hand touching. All right,
Yeah.
all right, I see, I get.
So
you don't like kaiju's being taken down?
No.
So
I don't
we
like
need to talk.
kaiju's committing suicide because they feel like they're monsters. It's awful.
It was a really powerful scene though, but we need to talk about Nimona first.
Best written character ever.
Yeah.
This is what chaos done right looks like.
This was chaos done right.
Yeah. She's a little girl. She's over 1,000 years old, but she looks like maybe she's like 16, maybe younger. I don't know. But
she's a 1,000-year-old. She's a 1,000-year-old vampire Lolita.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So she basically Ballister's sword got swapped when he was doing his swearing-in ceremony,
Yeah,
and
we know
that they don't. This is the spoiler section.
Right. So if they listen to the spoiler section, then they know.
Okay. Well.
Unless they chose to just go ahead and listen to the whole thing without watching the video.
that's
well, then
the
how
thing.
dare they?
Yeah,
I don't want to spend 20 minutes describing the entire movie to them.
So after Ballister kills the queen, he becomes a wanted criminal, obviously, and that's where Nimona is like, oh shit, yeah, a partner in crime, someone that I can be his evil sidekick, and that's how the characters meet. And she doesn't really have a goal in place, I don't think. She just wants to cause chaos.
She wants to overthrow the government. Like, she wants to start a revolution.
I think half of it is she wants to bring down the Institute. The other half is, if they're going to see me as a villain, I might as well have fun being one.
And boy, howdy, does she have fun being one.
Oh my god, it's so much fun.
Because
you want the squire? Well, then let's go get him.
The entire movie, like I said, I'm Ballister, Ray is Nimona. The dynamic between Ballister is like he has a clear objective. I want to prove my innocence. I want to find out what the hell happened there, and he's still a good guy at heart. He doesn't want to kill anybody. He is trying to lay low, whereas Nimona is just pure chaos. It's like trying to sneak around with someone yelling, "Here we are!" at all times.
I love the sneaking through the prison scene. That was probably the funniest shit ever. Where he's
she's just knocking everything down behind him.
he's trying to be as covert as possible behind the two pillars, and she's just lazily walking behind him, knocking everything around
Yeah,
on
and then you find
Well,
out
because
why
she knows
later.
the guards are already taking
She's
care of him.
already beat the crap out of all the guards. They're all in one room in a pile, like groaning and moaning, and she's just like, they were like that when I got here. My God. Uh, I as soon as Ballister he had his arm chopped off, but as soon as he replaced it with a cybernetic arm, I was like, fuck yeah, I want to live here. Cybernetics. It's like, I mean, he made it with a box of scraps, in a cave with a box of scraps. And he made it just so quickly and easily that I imagine that like actual cybernetics in this world are probably like really good.
Probably. Be safe to assume so. I don't think he was supposed to be that clever. Like, intelligent was not one of his traits, so if he could do it, then it's probably super easy and anyone can do it.
Naya in the Discord actually said
Yeah.
the subway scene where she's explaining her past really set the tone for her. She felt like a Tony Stark character who used his humor as a deflection and coping mechanism. It's
Yeah.
great timing on my Iron Man reference.
But Diletan, I'm not a girl. I'm a shark.
You ever stick your head in one of these babies?
Yeah, I love
Come
that scene,
on,
and,
you know
and I
you
love the
wanna.
one. I love the scene where she has the arrow in her leg, and he pulls it out, and she doesn't scream. He's like, "People usually scream at that point." She's like, "I'm not a people." It's like that was great. I like that.
Yeah, she was just totally like, she's got a bolt sticking out of her leg and she's just not even reacting. Like, whatever.
I find it weird that they have hover technology and they're still using crossbow bolts, though.
Well, they're not.
They're sci-fi bolts.
They're basically like railgun bolts though. Like
no, they're
when
not
they fire
railgun
them.
bolts. If they were
Well, no,
railguns, they would have
don't move
destroyed
fast
that
enough.
car.
Yeah, that's true. They're definitely something a little bit obviously more tech oriented than just crossbow bolts. Because when they're fired, they leave behind a blue trail and they travel really fucking far.
Yeah,
and
that's
really
called a
fast.
tracer round.
No, because like when they were shooting, there was one scene where like he's in the car and they're shooting at the car and then the car takes off, and
Yeah.
they're still shooting at the car and those bullets are traveling almost at the speed of actual bullets. Bolts don't do that.
Yeah, it's called contextual speed,
Okay.
Yeah.
where it's
I find
fast when it needs to be.
So one of my biggest problems with the movie is a world building qualm, and it's basically just, oh my god, that was like five sneezes.
Six.
7.
Help
me.
Are you okay?
Oh my god.
Ray-
Do you have allergies or something?
Nah.
Ray
I
had
honestly don't know if you've allergies or not.
I'm
Hey!
not. Help.
Ray had hiccups a little while ago, and he went, "Help me, Diletan." And I went, "What?" And he goes, "Well, Diletan's the
Diletan's
patron, saint,
saint of hiccups.
We gotta ask for forgiveness from Diletan.
Why is
9.
this happening?
I don't know. That's why I was asking.
I
Go snort
woke
some
up.
water.
What is water gonna do with my goddamn nose?
Clean it out. That's why snort it, not drink it. Snort it.
No,
That's
listen.
horrible. What are you talking about?
I accidentally did that shit when I was swimming in the pool. Worst feeling ever. And then I got like
Yeah,
stuck.
because water's not supposed to be in there.
As
Yeah.
a sea dragon, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Holy shit! Oh my god!
All right, I'm glad you're still alive. So my qualm with the movie is their weapon technology in general. Okay, because by the end of the movie, you find out that Nimona, is the only monster, and that they literally have not seen her for 1,000 years. There's no other monsters out there, and so they built this wall with its fucking ion cannons on it.
Yeah,
Plasma cannons,
it's
not
like-
ion cannons.
whatever.
They're
Plasma's blue,
distinct-
Diletan. Ion is green.
But no, it's not. Plasma's green. The fuck you talking
Oh,
about? Plasma's
actually, yeah,
always
you're-
green.
Yeah, you're right. Never
You
mind.
playing XCOM?
But yeah, like they have the wall with these giant freaking cannons, and the knighthood in general, like that. All of this exists and was developed without ever seeing another monster from the day Glorith said, "Go back to the shadows whence you came as a little girl."
Well,
Like like that is the biggest
Do we
overreaction.
know that though?
yeah, but here's the thing. So my theory on that is that the director probably knows there's no monsters out there, or they
No, she
actually.
doesn't. She thinks there's. That's why she was so fervent about like we must maintain the old ways because the monsters are coming. Like
But yeah,
she was a religious fanatic, basically.
I don't think anybody ever really goes up to the walls and like looks. I mean, the guns are always just pointed outward, which becomes a
Right.
plot point later on where they have to slowly swivel the guns back into the city.
Which,
But
if it's that dangerous to shoot inside the city, they would not even be able to turn towards the city. That's just an entirely different problem. But the thing is, like you're right. Nobody goes to the wall to look out. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like this is the biggest 1,000-year-long overreaction to a single, not intercourse, a single interaction with I know, right? A single interaction with a monster ever. Like the fact that they have the wall, that they have the plasma cannons or whatever. Why would you put that effort into developing that when you've never seen another monster since that one day?
probably because you do get a look outside when toward the end of the movie the wall is broken and they can see the horizon and the landscape. It
Oh
is like
God, nature!
it's like a lush, perfect utopia. It's like a
I
Gaia
know.
world. It's beautiful mountains, crystal clear streams, and vibrant forests. And I think it's like if anyone were to stand up on the wall and look out, you wouldn't see any monsters because they're hidden by the forest. The entire city is surrounded by forest. So
Still
they
say overreaction then.
it probably a little bit, but at the same time, I feel like the Institute just kept the status quo because it kept them in power. If they're able to control everything by, having these nights and these ceremonies, it's more about keeping the people at ease. Because if imagine how the people would react if someone went, "Hey, look, I've been looking outside and I don't see any monsters, so we're going to tear down the walls." Like everyone would start panicking because they don't know. So I think the Institute's just like, you know what, we're just going to keep the status quo. We're going to pretend there's monsters out there whether we know they are or not, and that way we're in control. We're in command. Like
Time
I,
for a real life
thing is
comparison.
the thing is I know that they had a queen, but when the
Banter,
queen,
let Diligent give his comparison,
Yeah, really. I just said I was gonna give my comparison.
sorry,
and then you immediately start talking over him. Go to the corner.
go to the corner.
All right, look at the United States and its bloated military budget from like one attack. It's
Oh,
not that it is not that difficult to really ramp up military production from one threat.
Yeah,
no, so it's not really one threat because to use the example from Terra that you want to be using here with the U.S.'s military budget, the outside threats are there. You can see them. They're tangible. It's humans fighting humans. The point is they know that they exist out there. They know there are people that hate them. And in this movie's setting, they don't know that. It's all like I guess just fear mongering and paranoia like to the extreme
It's
because you
more
never get to see
religious, if anything, and that makes it even more
it's
effective.
I guess,
I mean, they
but I guess
worship worship the original queen. They got a giant fucking statue of her. You can't say that's not religious. So you,
it's a little
it's
religious, but
it's
that
it's
comes
not the
hand in hand
queen.
with
The
the
statue is of
uh,
Glorith.
yeah, who
right.
may have been the first queen, who knows? But yeah, the religious fervor kind of comes hand in hand with your usual medieval setting. Like
Okay, so
it's
what I was gonna say real quick is that the the after the queen was assassinated, life in general never changed, which means that all the power is actually with the institute and the director. That the queen is essentially just a figurehead and a public figure.
Well, duh.
So I think that the institute wants to maintain the status quo, and
that's a good point, and I don't like it. As someone who appreciates monarchies, I feel like they should have spent some time trying to like get a new king or queen up and running.
yeah, it's like after the queen died, the queen was just kind of like a
Forgotten.
forgotten. Yeah, well, I mean that could be a fault in the storytelling, but at the same time, the
It's the lack of world building again.
the regular citizens were just going about their lives mere days after she was killed.
We
Like,
really don't ever figure out how long it was between. in the little time jump between him running away and him putting his arm on.
I
There,
mean,
there
again,
was.
realistically, this is just how unimportant monarchies are to people.
How
Let's be
dare you,
real here.
Dilettante?
Let's be real
How
here.
dare you? There were a couple scenes where it was very obviously nighttime, like when Nimona was sleeping and he put the blanket on her.
Right? No, I mean like from when the assassination happened and he ran away to now he's got his little conspiracy wall and he's built his army placement and Nimona finds him. We don't know if that was days, weeks, months, or whatever.
It had to have just been days. It feels like it would have just been days because I mean, like the little shack that he was holed up in was just like it was still a mess. It looks like all he did was just shove some furniture around and make his little conspiracy wall, and he built his arm. So it looked like because when Nimona shows up in his house, he's putting the finishing touches on the arm, and so I would just assume it's been like 3 or 4 days. You know, especially if like Ballister, he was absolutely driven to prove his innocence, so he would get
Mhm.
to work on that shit right away.
That also begs the question: like the queen is dead, the director's dead. Who the fuck is gonna lead these people now?
Uh,
My
Nimona.
money is on not Nimona. What's his face? Golden one
Oh,
who's always
Golden
on
Loin?
air.
Ambrosius.
I feel like if they had a succession protocol, it would be like Top Knight.
I mean, especially considering he's a direct descendant of Glorith. So,
Yeah, but
yeah,
they should have mentioned that. Like
yeah.
that would have been a real easy like world building thing. Just a few sentences at some point, like when the director's trying to convince Ambrosius that Bao is in fact the bad guy, she could say something along the lines of, like, if you're going to like become king or something or follow in, I don't know if they give the queen a name, her footsteps, you need to do the right thing and put your feelings for Bao aside because he is a traitor or whatever, right? It's like the movie was really lacking on some of the world building.
Yeah. Saber Spark said the same thing, but at the same time, I'm going to agree with him in saying I'm just thankful we got the movie, though. Like, even if there's weak points in the story, the fact that we even got a movie is like I'm happy. I
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this movie.
Like personally, I would have loved if Nimona was in whatever she is, a force of nature or something. I don't know. If she was a member of like a species that there are other members of. So in these 1,000 years, there have been other shape-shifting monsters that have been killed on the wall. Maybe not attacking it. Maybe it's 1,000-year long misunderstanding, right? But the point is, like, there are others that they have seen before, that they have fought before, and that they've interacted with before, rather than her just being like the only one. Like, I feel like that would have been much better than this. Why do they have ion cannons if they don't see anything for 1,000 years?
Because they might be
Because
out there.
military budget. We have
Paranoia
to
is a powerful tool, right? You
we have to
underestimate it.
protect. Yeah, we have to
Where's
protect
the
against.
budget coming from? You see the size of the city. It's like it's one city. Where are the resources to build this stuff?
Right,
I
To
mean, you
pay
don't
for
see
it?
under
it's
the
one
city.
it's one city that you need a flying car to get around. It's a mega city. It's basically an entire country in a wall.
Still, they would have ran out of resources by now. Where there were no farms. Where are the farms for the food?
You just said there were forests inside the city, so they probably have farms inside the city too.
I'm off to scrub through the movie at some point.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
to
we get to see the entirety of the city when we're like looking in on it from the wall at some point, and I'm pretty sure there were no farmlands. But whatever. This is one heck of a tangent. My original point was we have the wall with ion cannons, and we have the director with her little green pew 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 to like assassinate the queen, right? And the crossbows are using bolts rather than them being like actual laser crossbows. Like, what's up, guys? Where's the consistency?
That could just be I mean, you don't need much to kill. Let's be real. So they probably just decided, hey, we know crossbows, we like crossbows. It's probably symbolic, so they kept it just as is.
It's the factor of cool. Like, just go with it.
That
It
too.
doesn't have to make sense.
I
Cheers,
will
Nix.
I will say that throughout the movie
Try Nix. Sorry.
she shapeshifts into multiple different animals throughout the movie, and I was really happy that one of them was a gorilla.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna.
Yeah,
You wanted to be on that train ride, didn't you?
I love gorillas, but yeah, she turns into a shark, a whale, a gorilla,
Oh wait,
and
here's another thing. How do they know what a shark, whale, and rhinoceros are? They've never
yeah,
left the walls of the city.
that is true. Because
They didn't have the walls 1,000 years ago. They probably still have
no,
knowledge
they
of, hey,
did.
this is. They didn't.
Yeah, they actually stated at one point in the movie that the walls have been up as long as anyone can remember. I do feel like they did just gloss over a lot of things
A
because
lot of things.
otherwise the movie would have been and yeah, it lends more to the it would have been nicer as a miniseries.
Whatever. I guess I'll stop nitpicking. As somebody who enjoys world building because I do it myself when I DM for like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and I also partake a lot of not partake, but like see a lot of it with all these books and stuff that I read since I am the book dragon. To me, world building is important, and I put a lot of emphasis on it. And so a lot of these holes, I'm being a little nitpicky. I'll admit that, but like that's just what's important to me.
You are a very nitpicky
Bantam
guy.
just wants there to be laser beams and fancy cool stuff.
What I want to
He
know
wants
is,
a he wants a universe with is both suits of plate mail and laser cyberpunk stuff, and he got it. There's both
I
in here.
it is definitely like they made this movie or at least the setting for me.
what I want to know is, how do they fit all those crossbows into that gun? I did not see a magazine of any kind.
Mass
So
Effect technology.
here's the thing: they have fabricators, but they still use crossbow bolts.
I believe it. You know what? I accept that answer.
Plot magazine. It's the same reason why in any other action movie that takes place in modern day settings, the guns never run out of ammo until they're supposed to. Anyway, so that's fun. So it's a fun movie.
Oh, it's
It
absolutely
is
a
a
fun
very
Yeah,
fun.
movie.
is there anything else to talk about, or should we go into our discussion on shapeshifting?
Uh, go watch the movie.
It's a good movie. I love the character Nimona. She reminds me of how I imagine my Ray character acts in universe. Right, a lot of Ray energy. I have some nitpicks with the world building, but other than that, it's a fun watch. It's great. Go do it.
I think the first moment that I was definitely like, okay, this is Ray, was when Ballister was in the jail cell and Nimona was outside it, and then all of a sudden she was inside it, and then again outside it. Like, and he's like, what the hell? And then she's like, yeah, I can get you out. And she goes to put in the passcode to unlock the cell. And she's like, boop, 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 boop. And then an alarm goes off. So she just punches straight into it and opens the door. Like, it's the type of Looney Tunes energy that Ray
Yeah,
gives off.
I love her confidence, even when she's confidently incorrect.
So yeah, I think we're good to.
I'm trying to remember real fast what part got me the most emotional out of anything, considering Dilettante told us when he cried.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you. Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to not sneeze. Carry on.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think for me it'd be either when Ballister quote betrays Nimona because he starts to believe that she might actually be a monster, and then she runs away and gets all sad and depressed, right?
yeah.
It'd be either then or the hand on the heartbeat thing.
So mine was right before that, and it was actually a giant cannon shot hits the giant kaiju Nimona on the side, and she collapses in the street and just kind of lays there for a bit, and then she stands back up and she's staring directly at the. So there's a
The sword
giant
of the
statue.
statue.
Yeah, there's a giant Glorith statue with the sword pointed horizontal, and she's walking toward it with the intent on impaling herself on the statue's sword. Which is, kind of like a callback to when she said that when people call her a monster, she,
What she
sometimes
doesn't. What's scarier, the fact that everybody in the town wants to
put a
run their
sword in my
sword through
heart.
her heart, or that she wants to let them sometimes.
Yeah. And so she basically realizes she has no friends, and so she is essentially going to kill herself on the statue. But the fact that the statue was her very first friend who betrayed her, Glorith, made it way worse for
Hmm.
me. Like, that is where I started to lose it.
Yeah. The reason why I like the hand on the heart so much, which small side tangent, do you think it would have like been a bit more not impactful, but like symbolically would have meant more if he used his organic hand rather than his machine hand?
I mean, I
Okay,
don't
all
really
right,
think
all right,
so.
all right. Hold on, I have two answers for this. One, yes, from a storytelling perspective, it would be. However, from a realistic perspective, imagine you just lost your arm and then immediately replaced it with a cybernetic one. You're right-handed. You wouldn't think
Yeah,
to,
he
I'm
hasn't
gonna
changed his. Yeah,
I'm just gonna do what feels natural. But at the same time, you're absolutely right. It would have been more impactful, storytelling wise, if he used his flesh hand. But in a realistic sense, you wouldn't really think to switch hands.
yeah,
Like,
You
I
know
can
what?
definitely see that.
Counter argument, it would be less impactful. Gareth was
Why?
hurt by the society just as much as Nimona was, but having his arm cut off for something he didn't mean to do. For him to use that damaged arm shows sympathy.
Basically, touch her injury with his injury kind of deal.
Exactly. So, suck it.
Suck it.
oh, one more thing that we should mention before we, and this will
Oh
be a good.
well, I want to finish. Like that was a side tangent.
Oh,
The
sorry.
reason I liked the hand on the heart so much was because of the line that follows after where he says, "I see you." Like even though it's becoming a meme and like it's almost being overdone to it, some people find it like eye roll worthy because mostly because it got used in Avatar, and so everyone's like, oh, you're just copying that. The concept of I see you, I love that. I like feeling seen.
Yeah. Uh, let me know when you're ready to move into the discussion on shapeshifting because I have the perfect segue.
Okay, segue away.
All right. So there is one point in the movie where Ballister asks Nimona about how she shapeshifts and what it's like. And Nimona says that it when she doesn't shapeshift, it's like she feels itchy inside, and that she's not really living unless she's shapeshifting.
Well, what
And
happened if you just didn't do it?
I
I
die.
die. Oh God, that's horrible.
Yeah. But it's probably one of the most like realistic descriptions of like if you are a shapeshifter and you have the ability to instantly, and I'm not talking like werewolf transformation from Skyrim, instantly transform into anything you want or any animal you want, and it's like you can do that constantly over and over and over. It's like if you're just going to stay in human form eventually, yeah, it would feel like I could run faster, I could jump higher if I was this. It's like it's just natural, so I just want
I
to do
mean, yeah, that's
I
kind
think
of
that's
how I
just a
feel all the time.
byproduct of her ADHD.
it.
Like, think
Yeah,
of
she
that.
does. She does have
I mean,
severe
it's
like.
it's just the most overdiagnosed condition in the universe, so yeah. She can't stay in one body, obviously ADHD.
If you can't focus on one task, ADHD. But if you focus on that task too much, autism. It's like where's the sweet spot? What is normal?
It's a scale between ADHD and autism, and if you're not a 5 on the scale, if you're not perfectly normal, you're abnormal.
But it's true. It's like that's what everyone's like. Oh,
That's what everyone assumes. Like it's one of the things I don't like about society. But whatever. That's another tangent for another day.
And there's
Uh,
one question mark?
the point being is you're all of you listeners, you're all valid.
you're all valid. We
Yeah.
see
You're all
you.
valid. Yeah. Not not literally. This is an audio only podcast, but we see you.
No, I actually do see them. I'm a crow, and I have the ability to see them.
No,
Oh,
see,
he can see through the eyes of all other crows everywhere.
Yeah, I
you
do.
could
I
see
I have
us.
spies.
Yeah, like you can see us, and we can see you for $5 a month if you join our Patreon.
There we go.
To
There's our
join our
show.
audience.
There's our show
Sometimes,
for the day.
sometimes Dilettante will send me videos of crows like hopping around while he's doing his job, and I'm like, yeah, those are my spies. They're keeping an eye on you.
They keep shitting on my trailer.
And they don't like
Yeah.
Ray.
But yeah. So anyway, itchy feeling if you don't shapeshift. Yes, I as someone who likes to say their character can shapeshift, I agree wholeheartedly. Um, but Ray, if you like to shapeshift so much, why do you hate shapeshifting tropes so much? Well, I'm glad you asked, listener. We're gonna go into that now. So there are ways shapeshifting can be done right, and there are ways shapeshifting can be done wrong. Admittedly, a lot of the cartoonish level of shapeshifting I do quote in universe is wrong. It's done very poorly, and it's mostly done for the gags for like just random role plays and whatnot. But yeah, Bantam or let's do Dilatan. He doesn't talk a lot. Dilatan.
Hi.
I In general, is there a way you can possibly like shapeshifting?
Actually, the way this movie did it, I kind of agree with it. Mostly because she's I don't know how to I need to figure out how to explain this. So if you try to shapeshift a cop out of something, I hate it. Like if you're trying to disguise yourself or not be who you are, 0 out of 10. If you shapeshift in order to use creature abilities, however, like
So
exactly
you
like
you you're okay with the Teen Titans Beast Boy?
I fucking love Teen Titans Beast Boy. He was like the best character.
He was the
Him
best
and
character.
Cyborg were like fucking 10 out of 10, dude. I love to just decide to think it, and all of a sudden, boom! I'm a T-Rex. I now have the power of a T-Rex. I can crush my enemies as a T-Rex, and then you just
Hmm.
go back to Beast Boy.
Yeah, all the characters are good except for Robin. I didn't like Robin.
She was too damn edgy. But no, if you shapeshift to use a creature's ability, I wholeheartedly approve. If you shapeshift to hide, no, you're just a pussy.
Yeah. So I guess we'll use that as the segue. For me, at least, I'm pretty sure these two can agree with me. When we say we hate shapeshifting, it's because most of the time in dragon media, at least, shapeshifting is used as a way to hide the dragon. And I don't mean like because like the story calls for, but like literally they want to hide the dragon. They don't want to have to animate the dragon. They would rather just write a story that's two humans doing things and just say, "Trust us, this other human's a dragon."
Yeah, lazy as fuck.
I want to go back to because you said we'll go to Dilettante, but then you didn't come to me.
Well,
Uh,
you've used up all your words for the day.
I
Goodbye.
know. Boo-doo. Um, uh, the way that she did shapeshifting in this movie, as Dilettante said, it can be used as a cop out way too much. The fact that in the movie she actually shapeshifted into Ballister or into a little boy or a little girl or whatever. She's clearly capable of walking amongst these people completely undetected whenever she wants, but she chooses not to. And then whenever she shapeshifts, it's because it's fun for her. She's not doing it like to break the rules, I guess you could say. She's just the rules of the movie. She's just doing it because it's fun. Like in this situation, I'm gonna be an ostrich so I can run around and stomp on people's heads. There's a bunch of dudes charging at me. I'm gonna be a rhino and just charge back. It was just like spur of the moment. Fuck it, let's do this. And I like that.
That's what
So
inspired the serial dragon to go on a rampage. Because he
yeah,
just wanted to, I guess.
she needed a big weapon, and she just happened to see the serial dragon right there in front of her because I think they crashed into like a stand or something.
Who would want to eat that? What the fuck was it called?
They weren't dragon puffs. What?
It wasn't
What
Dragon
was the name of the
Puffs.
cereal?
Uh,
Dragon
shit.
Crispies.
Maybe
It
someone in our
it
audience
it
Google and
had to have
post it.
dragon in the name, but I can't remember. Anyway, so shapeshifting is bad when you hide the dragon because that is lazy, and you might as well just write a story that is two humans rather than one of them being a dragon. This is extremely uh, prevalent or relevant or something in like romance books where you're like dragon shifter is going to fall in love with a human, but then the dragon shifter never goes into the dragon form, or maybe like does it for like a page and a half because you have to prove he's a dragon, but it's just two humans doing whatever, right?
We have a budget of $100 for the dragon, so buy us a Unity asset off the Unity store. Throw it in there for 5-10 seconds. There, everyone knows he's a
But
dragon now.
hide it behind foliage so that they can't see how bad the model is.
Yeah, and then have him shift back into a human. But now for the rest of the movie, we never need to show the dragon again because they all know he's a dragon.
Yeah,
We don't have to show it ever again. Yeah, I hate that shit.
it's like, so there's a book that I read a while back. It's called Talon. I think the first book is called Talon, and the series is called Talon. Um, and in this book, the shapeshifting was understandable and I was on board with it, but then it completely ruined it during certain scenes that happen later in the book. So the general setting for Talon is dragons are real. They live amongst us and they live in human form because they have to stay hidden. They have to stay hidden because there is basically a CAA kind of thing where it's the Order of St. George, the Dragon Slayers, right? So there's a secret order of dragon slayers who are trying to hunt down the dragons and kill them because in this universe, quote, all dragons are evil, right? Uh, so the dragon have to stay in human form to be hiding because if they ever get found by the Order of St. George, they'll be killed. They've got the training and the gear and whatnot to take down a dragon. So understandable. And the book Talon kind of follows a girl who is going to go live amongst humans in California for like a year or two to prove to the agency, the dragons have a like mafia group. So the dragon agency is called Talon. Uh, to prove to them that she can actually live amongst people and stay hidden. She's not going to end up giving up their secret and put everyone in danger, right? Makes sense. For the story, it makes sense. This dragon is in human form. There are a couple of times where she goes into dragon form because she's going to break the rules and she's going to go flying because it sucks to not be in your dragon form, which I applaud that. Great. A couple other times where she goes into dragon form for the sake of combat training from some of the older dragons of the Talon Agency, and that makes sense. Uh, I guess minor spoiler. Eventually, somebody she was falling in love with, who happens to be a knight of Saint George, finds out she's a dragon. So the secret is out. Oh no, we have to. What's the word? We they're gonna fuck. What's the word? They're gonna talk about it. That sounds so weak. uh, whatever they're gonna talk about it. The knight and the dragon are there on like a cliff top when it's raining, big emotional scene, and they're gonna talk. It's like, I can't believe you're a knight. It's like, I really didn't want you to be the dragon. We thought you were. That's why I had to get close to you. Turns out you were, and I'm really sorry that it's come to this kind of thing, right? The thing is, after he discovers that she is in fact the dragon and like approaches her in her dragon form, she turns back human to have the conversation, which I felt like was completely unnecessary because you've already established she prefers being in dragon. The secret's already out. You should just talk to him dragon to human rather than go into a weak human body that you can't defend yourself in.
Yeah.
It's to feel relatable, Ray.
I mean, it's more relatable if she stays a dragon.
To
Because
you,
that's
but
the
not
thing,
to
like
the
these,
other humans that are afraid of the dragon.
I'm, but the point is, like, I feel like anyone writing a dragon shifter book is doing it because they like dragons, because they're writing for people who like dragons, in which case, show the fucking dragon.
Or it's because dragons are marketable. We already had that discussion about slapping a dragon on your cover. Should be a crime if there's no dragon in your book.
Siveth from Dragonheart 5 shapeshifts, but she never shifts into human, only into animals, which makes it a bit more palatable because you can't accuse them of trying to hide the dragon when they have to use the CG budget on animals that are walking around and talking instead.
Yeah, and
So
only in scenes where the animal was still, was it a real animal? For the rest of it, it
yeah,
was all CG.
yeah, and like Trisnick says, because Dragonheart know their audience, they know that the dragon fans are watching this. They know, don't hide the fucking dragon. Uh, what's her name? Sisu from Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yeah, yeah.
There was
When
some
she,
shapeshifting there, but it was very minor and it fit the story at the time. It was because we can't let people know that there are still dragons here. We need to keep you hidden for now. And then once that was no longer relevant, she never turned back to human again. She was a dragon for the second half of the movie.
yep, yeah. She only when we watched that one when she first changed into a human, we both were like, oh no. And yeah, it was just for that one scene or whatever, and then back to dragon.
Was Yeah, so like that was okay because it didn't overstay its welcome. Basically, it made sense for the scenes that had to be part of, and then was gone. The shapeshifting was gone. So shapeshifting is fine as a tool, but please don't use it to just hide your dragon. That was the Ray rant.
Yeah, it's a solid rant. Like the whole reason that we're even reviewing some of this media is because dragons, and there's so many movies where they do their best to hide the dragon. I mean, we went to Walmart at one point and we were looking at the DVDs just out of curiosity, and there was like 8 movies that had dragons on the cover, and it was all like the same. I remember sending a picture to Diletan. He goes, "I actually know which Unity asset that dragon's from." Like they're all just buying like a $50 model off of a store and then slapping it into their movie, and then they can put that dragon on the cover, and they're like, "Look, it's got dragons."
I feel like they were all just different flavors of Rain of Fire too, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Well, how do you know? You never watched them.
I know we're gonna have to just go through all this garbage.
Wait,
That's why I'm saying.
Ray never watched Rain of Fire?
No, I did. He's talking about the ones we saw at Walmart.
Oh, no. First of all, none of us have a DVD player in our house. Uh, I'd have to find these movies digitally somewhere.
Physical media? What is that?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess. Yeah, you got your PS5.
I have a PS5.
Yeah, you
I should
wouldn't
play
know it.
something on it.
Yeah. Oh my God, he bought a PS5 for Final Fantasy 16, and he's like, Stardew, and I'm like, what about your Final Fantasy?
I want to farm. I can buy Stardew on PS5.
Oh my God. If it'd get you to use it. As soon as Ray got his PS5, I stole it and I played Horizon Zero Dawn for like a month.
Forbidden West specifically.
Forbidden West, and then he's like, "Well, I want it back when Final Fantasy 16 comes out." It came out. I think he played it for like 5 hours, and that's it.
No, I played it for like 2 or 3 days. Uh, so I guess I'm gonna just keep on ranting about shifters in books I've read. If you guys have an example from like something else that you've seen in a book, game, or TV show you want to talk about, let me know.
The only one I can think of is Wish Dragon, but we rant about that for a long time.
Wish Dragon was fine because he only went to human form for the sake of the wish of you need to be my assistant so I can get into this party, right? And then he was
Was that the
dragging
context, or I thought he did it willingly just to hide?
He transformed into the servant for that one scene where he was at the dinner party. He turned into, just as a visual gag, a genie, like a classic genie. And then toward the end of the movie, he transformed into what he looked like in his human life, the Emperor.
when he was doing the let me tell you the truth about my
Yeah.
life kind of deal.
Yeah.
No,
But
I thought he stayed dragon for that. It was just he conjured a ghostly image of his human self.
Right. Yep. Okay. So yeah, I feel like in Wish Dragon, he spent probably a good 95% of the movie in dragon form.
Okay, so this other book I read, which I'll get you guys to it eventually because it's good world building, even if it's a dirty dragon shifter novel. It's a romance novel. It is erotic, so rated X.
Bantam
But
hiding behind Dilettante.
it is it's called the series is called Scales and Spells, but I can't remember what the first book's actually called. But anyway, so the story there is dragons existed, but then they quote were killed off. But it turns out that there are a couple clans that still exist. But to prevent, it turns out the world got on fine without them, and so they see no reason to announce their presence again. So they're gonna stay hiding because there was a great war between mages and dragons, and that like really fucked shit up when during the war. By the time they recovered, they saw the world was getting on just fine. So like, you know what? Fine, we'll just stay in our little enclaves. No big deal, right? But it turns out in this book, the dragons need mages because they can only recreate, propagate. Fuck, what's the word?
Procreate.
Procreate. They can only procreate.
Recreate, propagate. You had the beginning and the end of the word.
I had the two halves. They can only procreate with human mages. They can't breed with themselves.
Which
is
makes no
weird, but okay.
sense.
It's fine. It works for the sake of having to tell a shifter romance story. Okay.
When you're done, let me know because I actually just thought of a shifter that I've played.
Okay. So the dragons have a human form so that they can actually breed with the humans. Usually a dragon has to impregnate a human female, but because this is a gay novel, they have weird magical rituals to allow male pairings to have offspring. But so dragons have a human form, and they kind of stay in it for most of the book, which makes very little sense because you would think they'd want to be in their normal form. There are a couple of dragons that will be dragon more often because it's just more fun. Hooray! and they have mandated dragon time because you need to make sure that the dragon gets exercise. And if you don't shift a dragon every so often, you're gonna get like cranky and you're gonna get sick and you're gonna get whatever, which is fine, I guess. But like, it's good to have there be consequences for not going into your dragon form. But like, they live in a castle in the mountains where nobody else can come to them. It's like you would think they could just be dragon forever in this mountain castle. Like, why do you need to be in your human form in your dragon castle? Uh, and then one of the things that the book does that I fucking hated was they would always refer to their dragon self as my dragon. So like the dragon in his human form is talking to his human lover, and he says like a sense like my dragon thinks that's a good idea. Like if the human and dragon halves were separate and like they think differently or something.
They
I
love
don't know how to.
shifting so much they became like
They became
pseudo
schizophrenic or something.
furries. I just love being human so much they can't
But it's
help it.
like it's like I love you and my dragon loves you too. It's like what? Why? It's you. It's just you. Just I don't know. That was just another rant, I guess. Bantam, take the wheel.
All right, so the shifter experience that I have, it's kind of a loose definition of shifter, but I feel like it still applies. Uh, is going to be a major spoiler for Final Fantasy 14. But so if you don't want spoilers for that, I guess skip forward like 30 seconds. But there is a dragon that rules a city called Razatan, and he doesn't want the people to see that he's actually a dragon. So he rules in secret by putting some of his essence into essentially an automaton body of a little boy. And everyone thinks that that little boy is a flesh and blood person, and they're like, "Oh, this is our emperor. Yeah, we must protect him," and all this other stuff. But he's literally just a puppet that the dragon controls to be able to wander his kingdom and protect his people. And he shows up in so many cutscenes and has so much dialogue with so many other characters, and very rarely do we ever get to see him in his full dragon form doing literally anything.
I mean, but see,
And
the difference being is that's not a shape shifting aspect. That's he's controlling a puppet from far away through magic.
yeah, but to me, it's still shapeshifting. I mean, just remove the puppet with magic thing, and it's like I just imagine the dragon just turning into a human boy and just going everywhere and doing all this stuff. And then when shit really hits the fan, he turns back into a dragon, and it's kind of annoying. Because in his dragon form, he's super fucking powerful, but he's even admitted that, well, this simulacrum of this human body is very limited in what it can do. I'll help you as best I can. And it's like, dude, why don't you just come out and fucking kill all these things with your superior awesome power? But no, you're gonna be like, no, I'm gonna stay in this weak ass little body. And
Because violence is bad.
yeah, he doesn't
Okay.
like violence.
It's like one thing that I'll begrudgingly admit that you need shapeshifting for, and Nimona actually did it very well. And I feel like eventually I want to use it for something, a book or a D&D campaign or something, whatever, right? But the thing, how to explain this? The concept of you become friends with somebody and then you discover what they are and you have that. Wait a minute, you're one of those. You're the monster. It's like, don't call me that kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
It's like going along the lines of like if humans and dragons existed in the same world and humans hated dragons for whatever reason, and then you have a human and a dragon meet, you can't really do anything. If the dragon stays dragon forever, you can't really do anything with that. Like immediately they meet, like, oh, you're a dragon, you're monsters. So like you're never gonna have the chance to get to know them usually, barring extremely unusual circumstances. But if the dragon can shapeshift and is a human and becomes close to the human, and then find out in Act 3 later on that wait, you've been a dragon this whole time, that can be a good story. But in that sense, the shapeshifting is useful to the story, and it's not just hiding your dragon for the sake of hiding your dragon. Yeah,
yeah. Don't hide your dragons. I am not into books as much as Ray. Everybody knows that.
monster.
But at the same time, it's like when Diletan when Dilettante didn't show up for one of the episodes and we did Knight's Fire, yeah, he spends like he's found as a dragon at the main character or whatever. He's found as a dragon, and then he turns into essentially a little boy, and he stays like a little boy the entire time. And it's like it felt like that cheap cop out that we were talking about earlier, where it's like show the dragon once so that everyone understands this is a dragon, and then you don't have to show him again. But there's even less excuse with books because you're not dealing with like a CG.
You don't have a
budget.
CG budget, yeah.
It's
And
like
the problem is they're afraid to do anatomy correctly. I don't think they understand just how physically a dragon works. Like they understand the lore, the like in its wisdom. They live for 1,000 years, whatever. They do like a Wikipedia read, but they don't understand the physical motions that a quadruped creature can make. So I feel like they just throw them as a human to try to get them easier to work with as far as like emotional descriptions go and whatnot.
It's lazy and cowardly.
It is cowardly.
It's like take risks, experiment, go out there. I think like back to as far as Knight's Fire goes, in the exact moment he turned to human made sense. There were people who were bleeding out, and he needed small hands to be able to hold the bandages onto the wound and stuff to keep them from dying. Makes sense that he would turn to human because you wouldn't have the claws. You'd be smaller. You could actually get in there and like help keep people alive. That's fine.
Counter argument: turn into a dragon and cauterize their wounds with fire.
I mean, good luck with that. Cauterize the whole body.
There you go. The problem solved.
Crispy. He then stayed a dragon because they had to hide because the dragon had escaped from a mad wizard and he get him to safety before he gets captured again, right? My main problem with it towards the end of the movie, at the end of the book. See, when I read books, they play like a movie in my brain.
Not for me.
When the knight was introducing the dragon to his sister, the queen, I think he was still human, and he even did the whole possessive. This knight is mine. You can't have him. I'm gonna growl at you. I think he still did that in human form, which is like, you should turn back to dragon for this. Come on.
Yeah, you just look like a cringe furry.
I know, right? My Gawain. That's such a nice name, Gawain. It's all come screaming back into my head now.
That book. Oh my god. Fuck it. I really regret that Dilettante didn't do that one with us.
Dilettante, you got to catch up. Here, have some homework.
Yeah.
It was a very short book, but oh my god, that book.
I don't think there's ever going to be a sequel either.
No, I know Dilettante doesn't re-listen to our episodes, which is fine, but yeah, Dilettante. It was this dragon who's like, oh god, they've got me cornered, and they rescue him or whatever. He turns into a little boy, and then there is just a straight up what feels like a sexual predator scene of the male the adult male knight playing with essentially a dragon in a little boy's body.
It feels gross to say this, but it really gave off statutory rape vibes.
It really fucking did, and it was so. It's one of those things where like you'll hear erotic writers who say that like they need to keep finding different words for penis because when you use the word penis in the book, it sounds so bad. And this book was just I think we said that it felt like they just really, really wanted to write this one erotic scene, and they had to throw a story around it to justify it.
And the scene itself was gross because it played off the whole "what's happening? Why does this feel good?" kind of trope, and I was like, "Oh, that's gross."
Yeah, I took your virginity.
And it was really weird too because that in the scene he was like, "Oh, like this feels amazing," and like what and all that, whatever, right? That whole really badly done first time kind of writing that again feels really iffy when the knight is like some 30-something-year-old person. But then like afterwards, like after it happens, after the knight helps the dragon relieve himself, then he goes to the dragon to have the talk to make sure it's okay that this happened. Instead of before. And the dragon's like, "Oh, don't worry, I know what sex is. Don't worry about it." But like, he really didn't act like he knew what it was in the moment.
Yeah. After they're done having like gratuitous multi-page sex, The knight's like, "Oh, maybe I should have asked him first. Was that okay?"
The author realized that he needs to go through a couple steps to make this not be a very bad book, but he
Good
does it
lord.
afterwards rather than beforehand.
I just remember giggling like fucking crazy. I did actually re-listen to that episode, and yeah, I was just like, "What the fuck?"
Anyway, we're getting to the point where we tangent to other episodes of our podcast.
Which you should binge listen to.
Binge them 5 times.
Oh yeah.
We got an email a while back. Bantam just discovered it, where someone who really loves the show said he just binges all day at work and he's gone through the whole library like 5 times. And I'm like, first off, thank you, and I'm touched. Second, 5 times? Holy shit!
And
I'm sorry I can't get these two to put content out faster for you.
yeah, and third, I actually responded to them. They go by Dino or Dino. But I I actually I have a permanent forwarding set up from the show's email to my personal email, so that I don't have to switch back and forth between accounts. And I never got this email, and the reason why is it went straight to the spam folder. And the only reason I even checked the spam folder yesterday was because we were hoping that we were going to get an invite beta code for Baldur's Gate 3 for the final release. And I was like in full copium mode, like checking the spam folder.
Bad news, listeners. We're not big enough to get press release codes yet.
Yeah, I submitted an application. I gave them the World of Dragons website, our Patreon, our Discord, all that stuff. I was like, look how valid we are.
Yep.
And
I cry every time. Press F.
yeah, and Ray has been. They were supposed to send out press codes on Friday, but then they changed it to Sunday, and Sunday came and went. And we did not get codes.
We'll never get to see the bear scene.
No, we'll
No,
get to see it.
we'll
Just we won't
get to see it.
We
just
won't get to
won't
see it 4 days ahead of time.
The thing is Ray and I really were hoping that we were going to get it for one major reason, and that was to be able to load the game and not have
To
to
install
deal
it without the service crashing on Thursday.
Yeah, Steam literally said that they're not allowed to move the release date at all because they want to make sure that it's during the open office hours for Steam for when the servers crash.
Not if.
Not if, when. So it's so wonderful.
All right, Dilatan, give me a few succinct sentences on your thoughts on shapeshifting.
I already did at the beginning.
Well, do it again.
Why do you do it multiple times? If you use it for combat, if you use it for the actual creature's ability, 10 out of 10. If you use it to hide yourself, 0 out of 10.
What
Don't
if you
be
use it to have
ashamed of
an
who
excuse?
you are.
What if you use it to hide the connotations of your romantic relationship with a human?
Bullshit. The fucking game of the year is going to have you fuck a bear. All bets are off. Go wild.
Give us the dragon dick. The Drussy.
Fuck her in half!
All right, Bantam, your succinct thoughts on shapeshifting.
The way Nimona, if everyone just followed the example that Nimona set, I'd be happy. When it's convenient because they need to go into a subway tunnel or fit inside a house, she's in human form. But for the rest of it, she's just like, I'm gonna shapeshift whenever the fuck I feel like it. Fuck it. I like that.
Yeah. My general thoughts are, if you're gonna have a dragon, use the dragon. If for whatever reason the story requires that you hide the dragon for a little bit, like it's a subterfuge story, a they live among us story, or a mistaken identity story, then it's fine. But please have consequences to the shapeshifting, in the sense of it feels wrong. I'm gonna get sick if I don't go back to my dragon form. It's itchy. It's something, right? Rather than just like, oh, I could just be human forever if I wanted to. Right? Like when we read what City of Gold? No, it was Cities and Skylines Feathers of Gold. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
By Rowan Silver.
Yeah.
Feathers of Gold. When we read that, it
Cities
had some
and
shape
Skylines.
shifting. Cities and Skylines. Whatever. There was shape shifting because the dragon was required by law. Thank you, Trisnix. Feather of Gold, the Dragon and Skylines book series. The first book's called Feather of Gold by Rowan Silver. She's required by law to be in human form to go and have a job in human town. So like that makes sense world building wise, but like she doesn't like being human. It feels weird. She's stumbling, she's falling, she's having a hard time controlling the shape and not just like bursting back into dragon form because her reflex is to move a wing or move her tail, and if she tries to do that while human, it's going to shatter the illusion. So it's like great consequences, and it makes sense in the universe. Thank you. All right, so I guess that is us finishing up talking. We have no more words.
I used my allotment.
Deletion has no more words.
I'm slow about thinking.
Yeah,
You gotta give
we're
my
gonna
gears some time.
we're gonna have to start writing a script just so Dilettante can have his words on paper.
Like that'll last.
I do want to
No, I was
experiment one
trying.
time
Oh,
eventually where we,
to
we
be,
have
I
like a
actually
Google
was
Doc.
about to comment on the feathers of gold, but I didn't know if it'd be rude or not because I feel like you still create an in-universe cop out of not being able to be a dragon. What's stopping you from having a dragon have dragon jobs? Just make a job for the dragon to do that fits as as a giant feathered reptile that can breathe fire. Have him be a welder.
I
Boom.
think because of the snapshot of the world they wanted to take involves mundane humans being scared of dragons and not liking them for whatever reason. Therefore, they got to play by the human rules if they want to go and get a job working for some magi because she needs some of the magical metal to replenish her shimmer or glimmer or whatever it's called. Um, so the point being is that's where it starts. That was a snapshot. Perhaps by the end of her series, there'll be dragons having dragon jobs. So that's just the story she wants to tell. Shimmer. But yeah, as I was saying, I want to eventually experiment with us having a Google Doc that we all collab together and write, and we basically write a script for an episode just to see how that works out.
We're gonna tangent so far, of course, like the first 5 minutes. I can see
No,
that
no,
Yeah.
now.
no. We'd have to open a Google Doc and like, here's what I want to talk about. Write out your little sentence, and then other people will like write out their stuff in between or whatever.
Yeah,
We'd have to.
it won't be for like reviewing a piece of media or something. It'll be like if we want to have sit down and have a big boy discussion on let's say we want to redo the Dragon Shifter talk, just because I can't think of a topic right now. We would sit down and write basically a 3-person essay on it. The only
Ew.
reason to do that would be because it helps keep you on track, and if you end up forgetting something you want to bring up, you at least have it written down, kind of deal. And the only reason I want to experiment with that eventually is because I've gone on like a rabbit hole in YouTube of watching a lot of video essays on just on whatever. Like the most recent one was on Steven Universe because I rewatched that show and I just wanted to see like some retrospectives on it. But I've seen a couple retrospectives on like some old game series that I used to love and a couple other TV shows and whatnot, and they all have scripts because that helps them stay on topic and succinct, and they bring all their information to the table and they don't forget anything. And it's like it'd be a fun experiment.
It would be a fun experiment, but I think that people like us for being
Yeah,
ourselves.
absolutely. So why I would not want to do it
Grips
for
are for
like
pussies.
we don't want to do it when we would just review stuff, but like if we want to ever have sit down and have a big boy talk about a certain trope or aspect of dragonness in general, maybe for that
Dragonness.
dragonness, dragonosity. But anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. As we talk about Nimona and shapeshifting in general. Next episode will be, in fact, the book that was previously mentioned. Uh,
Which now that we have the book and we
yeah,
can listen to it more relaxed this time.
yeah, Scales of Empire, I think is what it's called. Let me look it up real fast so I can give proper credits to. Okay, yeah, so it's the Dragon Empire series. First book is Scales of Empire by Kylie Chan. That's what we'll be doing next time. And yeah. Oh, right, Bantam. Where can they get in contact with us if they want to give some input on their thoughts on shapeshifting, if they want to suggest something for us to cover, or if they just want to say hi.
Yeah. If you ever want to get in contact with us, the easiest way is to go outside, find your nearest crow, and tell it that you want to talk to me. That's the fastest way. But we do have alternate ways. If you don't speak crow, we have a Twitter. It is @officialwadpod. Our email is wadpodcastmail@gmail.com. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/World of Dragons podcast, and the Discord where you can talk with us if you are part of the studio audience tier. You can talk with us live, and we'll we do try to interact, not too much. We don't want to get distracted, but if someone makes a good point or asks a question, you know, as you've probably heard in this episode, we'll be like, oh, so and so said, you know.
Yeah.
And we do want to thank our
Our VIP level patrons,
which Treesenex is
Comrade
now.
and Kazin and Tricenix became one.
Is it Treesenex or Tricenex?
I'm pretty sure it's Tricenix. Please tell me I'm right.
It's Trees. He's doing
It is
the
not Treesenix. Me and fucking
It's
Dino had a
Tricenix.
very long talk about this. It is Treesenux. Or no,
Treesenux.
no, wait, no, hold on. No, Tricenix. Try.
Tricenix. You know what? If you come and join our Discord, please give a pronunciation guide for your name.
Spell your name phonetically for us. I live in the
No.
South. I don't know how to pronounce shit.
Because now I'm like, is the last part Cynix or Cynix?
Treesenix says or whatever his name is. I broke the VIP shout out. But yeah, our thank you to our VIPs, Comrade, Kazin, and Treesenix.
Tricenix.
Tricenix.
Yeah, your support helps us make this easier. Like, well, I always want to do it because it's a passion project for me. But like, you make it easier. It's expensive. Server costs, buying the content we have to cover because I want to support these people, and so on and so forth. So thank you guys so much. But yeah, thanks again for coming, and we'll see you guys next time.
I pronounced it right. Woo.
Dilettante got it right.
You said it like 5 different ways. Which was the right way?
Apparently the last one.
Which was what again?
Tricenix.
Tricenix. Okay,
Tricenix.
we'll do our best. Thank you for being patient with us. Anyway, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.